that run this industry that say, look, times are changing. We are not making as much money as we once did. This is not the golden era of television, although some of us would argue the shows are great. What do you say to them?
So I'd point out the fact that David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, which is, the parent company of the network I'm talking to you on right now, was paid $250 million last year, $250 million. That's about the same level as what 10,000 writers are asking him to pay all of us collectively.
With the writer's strike in full force and Vice Media Group heading for bankruptcy, we're seeing an undervaluing of creative and journalistic endeavors for the sake of profit. Although, ironically, in the case of Vice, it might have been an overvaluation that doomed them, as the company has struggled for years to remain profitable despite the company's growth from a gutsy digital media publication to an ad agency, a movie studio, and a show on HBO.
This is a company which raised money from Disney, which raised money from private equity. In 2017 was valued at a full 5.7, and quote, by today, most accounts, it is worth only a tiny fraction of that. In the event of bankruptcy, their largest debt holder would end up controlling the company. They said that they're operating normally, Vice is currently, and are trying to run an auction to sell the company over the next 45-day period. But clearly, they are in dire, dire financial straits.
In 2017, the company was valued at $5.7 billion, following a funding round from a private equity firm. Vice also had big-name investors like Fox and Disney. In fact, Disney almost acquired the company for $3 billion in 2015. Now, despite several offers to sell, it looks like the company will soon file for bankruptcy. This news comes just days after Vice announced that it would be closing Vice World News, a branch of the company that focused on reporting ongoing global conflicts. And Vice, as a media outlet, has a somewhat torrid reputation. They're known for their renegade reporting, for better or for worse, earning acclaim for sending reporters into dangerous regions that many other outlets wouldn't, like cartel country and North Korea. They also had a strong identity related to counterculture, writing edgy articles on previously taboo topics that over time started to feel less edgy and more cliche, and that's at least according to its own fan base. For instance, talking about weed all the time is just less interesting and less evocative than it used to be. It's mainstream now, but to be fair, you can't say that weed is mainstream now without acknowledging Vice's contribution in making it more mainstream. Perhaps Vice is suffering from a minor identity crisis, as the digital world it exists in today is far different from the digital world it disrupted years ago. But Vice does a few things quite well, not the least of which was Vice World News, the same division that just got cut. The company is expected to continue its coverage of global issues, but in a different capacity. Still, I can't do what a lot of those Vice reporters do. And neither can an AI. Maybe I'll eat my words later, but AI will not be the answer these tech executives are looking for. The question they're trying to answer is, how can I produce the most while paying the least? And it's a tale as old as time. This is nothing new. Everyone loves a good deal. After all, art, according to executives, is only as valuable as the wealth it creates. It's capitalism at its absolute best, which coincidentally is also capitalism at its absolute worst.
I literally know writers who have had to go on assistance because they have not been able to make their year. If you look at these companies, they're making more money than ever. It's the people who make the shows for them that are making less.
Adam Conover, thank you so much for coming on. Because you ruined everything. You may have just ruined my career, but I don't mind. Appreciate you coming on.
Right now, thousands of writers across the country are on strike after failing to reach a deal with streaming platforms. These writers are struggling to build careers and live lives off of a job that they do full-time, a job that the industry can't function without, and a job that most people can't do. They're highly skilled workers who are in high demand, but they aren't being paid for their craft while being expected to produce and perform at high levels. This is a case of the artist versus the business person. The goals are different. I'm rewatching Silicon Valley right now, and this reminds me of an interaction that Richard, who is basically the Steve Wozniak of the show, had with his company's CEO, Jack Barker. Richard wanted to build his platform with the algorithm that he came up with because he believed in the potential of the algorithm. Unlike other tech guys running around Silicon Valley, Richard actually believed in his algorithm and that it could make the world a better place. But the guy running his company had different goals. Jack was a tech CEO, not necessarily a tech enthusiast, and he didn't care about whether or not the algorithm could be applied in such ways that it enriched lives and disrupted industries. His goal, which he stated explicitly, was to increase the stock value of the company, even if that meant chasing low-hanging fruit and applying the algorithm in the most uninspiring way imaginable. The goals are different. But the goals with capitalism can also be cannibalistic. There is no acceptable ceiling with capitalism. It's unchecked growth for the sake of growth, even if sustaining that growth means exploiting your resources and your workers to the point that you can no longer produce the product you're trying to make money off of. And it goes without saying that the growth isn't meant to benefit everyone involved in the company. The inequality gap widens over time, with only a few at the very top reaping the rewards of the collective effort, despite the fact that those few at the top likely don't have any creative skills themselves. In a perfect world, the relationship between the artist or creator and the business person is a symbiotic one. Each one has something the other one needs in order to be financially successful. Case in point, there are so many incredibly talented people out there who create incredible works, writers, painters, musicians, documentarians, whoever, who don't make much money off of what they do. Success in a creative field isn't so much an indicator of talent as it is a testament to good marketing and good networking. Knowing how to create something is a talent and a skill on its own. Knowing how to do business is an entirely different skill set. But one is criminally undervalued, the one that actually contributes to society, and the other is criminally overvalued because the stakeholders need to make money. There's probably a lot more that can be said on this topic. For instance, quality versus quantity as it pertains to the low barrier to entry for online content and the subsequent devaluing of creative works. Or we could talk about what counts as content and what counts as art. Also, what's the modern day value of higher education in fields like journalism, considering the discriminatory and prohibitory costs of obtaining degrees from universities? And then there's the fact that the godfather of AI couldn't do the thing that the fictional Richard did in Silicon Valley and is now warning the world of the dangers of his own creation. Dangers that many of us foresaw years ago, while the entire tech industry dismissed our concerns and instead chose to pursue their artificial arms race. But I think I'll leave it there for now and let you all discuss in the comments, all right? That's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like and subscribe and be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks.